Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Adam and Jake on the movies. Are you queuing up something else?
I hit the record
Oh,
button on Instagram,
okay. All right. Cool. So I'm Jake,
and I am Adam.
and every week, I just got a notification that says that Adam Chafin has started a live stream
A live
on
stream. That's
Instagram.
very cool.
So every week we watch a different, well, every weekish, we watch a different movie, and then we answer a few questions about it. This week's movie is I Heart Huckabees, a 2004 film directed by David O. Russell, written by David O. Russell and Jeff Baina, I believe, starring Jason Schwartzman. Do you have a synopsis for us?
I do. And someone asked me about this movie the other day, and I sent them this exact synopsis. So it's about a husband and wife team that play detective, but not in a traditional sense. Instead, the happy duo helps others solve their existential issues, the kind that keep you up at night, wondering what it all means.
What it all means. All right. Well, that's a great transition to our first question, which I had not seen this movie before, so I'm going to answer this question. What was the initial reaction after the movie? My initial thought was, what does it all mean? I actually had to go look it up just to kind of figure out exactly how everything played out
Right.
and what was going on through the movie. I was a wee bit confused about the main character, just about the movie as a whole. Like, I enjoyed many aspects of it, but I was still not 100% sure where the journey that we just went on was and went
Right.
to. So that was my initial reaction. How about you?
Now, like I said off air, I'd seen this movie twice before in the theater, and I think I'd seen it once on DVD since then. So when I first saw it, I was confused, like you were. I did like it, but I didn't know why I liked it exactly, because there's so many storylines that are weaved into this one story, kind of with these detectives, played by Lily Tomlin and Dustin Hoffman. And there's a third one that comes on later, but she's not with them. Yeah, confusion sums it up, I guess. And the initial time when I first saw it, I liked it enough to see it twice in 1 week.
Oh,
So I did like it enough to see it twice in that first week, but the second time really didn't help me understand it any better than the first time. So yeah, I would jump on your bandwagon to say confusion.
yeah. All right. Uh, what's one thing that you wish that you could change about the film?
Um, if I think this film might have been better had it been structured differently. Maybe have like interludes between each, maybe make it into segments for each character, maybe. I don't know. It was just, I thought it was hard to follow the plot. It was hard to follow exactly at first what the detectives were doing, especially like this one example when they had the blanket and they're going like in and out. You're here, you're here, you're here. And when it happens in the movie, I'm like, what are they even talking about?
Mhm.
So I would try to clean up some of this confusion by making structuring the movie differently. I'm trying to think. I can't think of anything right off, but I would maybe like in Quentin Tarantino's movies, he has little segments and they're entitled, the Golden Watch or whatever, different things. And I think I would do that with this. Maybe have like each character have like a little segment, and then maybe at the end have the last segment. They would all tie it in together. I'm not sure, but structured differently. What about yourself?
Yeah, I think that's similar to what you said. I think I might even get rid of some of the storylines or just chop up some of the storylines to make them a lot shorter.
Yeah,
Overall, I think the whole film needs a little bit of
trimming.
a smoosh because I
Yeah,
think it was a little bit too long and they just there's just too much going on. There's too much crammed in there. I like how he weaved it together at the end. I like how he brought everyone together at the end, but I don't think we needed as much. I don't know. I'm trying to think of where I would even cut.
Hey, Catherine.
I liked Mark Wahlberg's storyline, but I felt like there was maybe a bit too much of that. I think all the storyline, I don't know. Maybe cut down that one a little bit, cut down a little bit of, I don't really know.
I know a scene that I would cut, but I'll bring that up in a moment. But I know
Okay.
a couple of at least 3 minutes that could be trimmed easily.
Yeah, so I just think there's just too much going on.
Me
Too much
too.
going on. Too many characters are fighting for the stardom in this film,
Yeah,
which is funny because Jason Schwartzman's character really feels like the main character, but everybody else is fighting for that lead
yeah.
role. So that's where I'm like, I just feel like there's just too much there, too much happening um, during the film. What did you think about uh, Schwartzman's character? Do you feel like I'll take it first since we'll
Okay.
alternate. Albert Vitsky, whatever his name is. Anyway, what do you feel about his arc? I think, yeah, I mean, he definitely arced. He definitely is a changed person from the beginning of the film to the end of the film. I think all the characters do arc pretty well in the movie. Again, I think we see too much of a lot of the characters, and that's why like this arc takes so long to happen.
Yeah.
But I would love to see it focus just a little bit more on his character and his character arc throughout the film. It's definitely there, but it's just distracted by all of these other things. So if you take the beginning and the end, definitely a difference, but there's just too much in between, I think.
It's a very unfocused movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's trying to focus, but it's so trying to focus so much that it becomes just jumbled and unfocused. I mean, I do agree with you about the character arc, though. I think each character has a good character arc, and each character changes. So maybe this story it has good characters, but they need to be trimmed, and it's the characters in search of a different story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, maybe these characters might be more interesting if the plot. I mean, it's not that the plot isn't interesting, but it's just so confusing. How many people would, on first viewing, know what this movie is about? Like, it's not really an easy movie to review like some of the other movies that we've had before.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. I and it's such a big topic too. So this existential crisis that this person is having, it, it like it, I mean, most films are kind of having, and I don't really know. I don't know where I'm going with that, but I just think it's like it's very difficult when you have this many characters all trying to find their purpose in life
Yeah, at the same time.
at the same time. That's enough for one person, but to find, I mean, you've got one, two, three, four, five, six, like seven characters trying to find their purpose in life.
Yeah.
That's a lot. That's a
and,
lot
and
going
so
on.
they're weaving together the storylines as well with the characters because I think it starts off a little slow
Mm-hmm.
and then it like the first act it took me a little while to understand what the purpose of this movie was, just like the characters they're in search for a purpose. The as an audience member, the first act I was kind of in search of what's each character, because Brad doesn't come into the picture early on.
Mm-mm.
You know, he's a little bit later, I think, in the first act. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. The whole first act is so. There's just so much packed into the first act
yeah,
that you almost wish like they would have moved some of it to the second act or gotten rid of it or
yeah,
something.
all together.
Yeah, I don't know. What about these secondary characters? What about these B list characters? Well, they're none of them are B list characters, but
Yeah, I mean, I guess I mean I don't know how we're considering which one's second tier characters, but if I mean, I liked, Brad as a character. I liked the way he crumbled, but then the way he was trying to put that on that persona that, like when they put things in the trash can just so they would find them. Like, was Brad really, he wasn't really searching, or he didn't even think he had a crisis to begin with. He was only doing it to match Jason Schwartzman character is what I got from it. And then he was trying to like fool these detectives. Then these detectives are actually finding out the truth. And then whenever they find the truth, he just starts to crumble. So I thought he had a very interesting, him and Naomi Watts also, because she totally went bananas near the end when she's no longer like the spokesmodel or the spokesperson for Huckabees, right? That's the name.
Huckabees. Yeah.
Hey, Kristen. Thanks for tuning in.
Yeah. I liked Brad's character. I think Naomi Watts' character, I liked hers as well. I liked Darlene, the woman with the red hair. I thought she's like she cracks me up. She's a lot of fun. But I never thought I'd say this, but I really was a big fan of Mark Wahlberg, Tommy Corn in this film. I think that see, here's the weird thing about this movie is everyone does such a good job in this film. Like I think that Dustin Hoffman's great, Lily Tomlin's great, Jude Law's great, Naomi Watts is great, Jason Schwartzman, like all Mark Wahlberg's great. So it's kind of hard to figure out like a secondary character. It's just like the film itself was like holding these people back.
Yeah.
But I would probably put Mark Wahlberg just because I think he's really. This was a role that was made for Mark Wahlberg. He is really good at these kind of comical, meathead, airy type roles. So I liked him a lot. I thought he was really good. I liked his arc at the end and how he the ending scene where the house is burning, where him and Naomi Watts are coming out and he's like picking her up, and I thought that scene was I thought that was a really, really, really good scene. But yeah, I think I'll go with Tommy Corn.
Okay.
What about the music in the score of the film?
I thought the music complemented. There's like this little theme that runs throughout the entire movie, and it's also on the menu screen of the DVD. It's that little theme just plays over and over and over, and I think that little musical score there, I think it complements the movie. It's kind of quirky, it's kind of a little strange, but not like terrible, and it kind of gets into your mind. So I thought it was okay. What about yourself?
Yeah, I thought all the music was really good. I thought the score was very fitting to it as well. It didn't take anything away. It helped you stay focused on really helped you stay in the story, especially with it being such a longer film.
Yeah.
You kind of needed something to pull you back in, or just to keep each of these big chains linked together.
Yeah.
And I think the music did a really good job of doing that. So yeah, I was definitely a big fan of that. What about favorite scene? Would you like? Give me go first on this, or you would take it?
I've got one right in mind. I like this where Brad tells the same jokes over and over about like the mayonnaise. Yeah. And he's sitting there September 5th, 7:00, and he's telling the joke. September 28th, 2:00, he's telling the same joke. And you could see his expression at first. He's still laughing and then you can see he's searching inside that himself as he's listening to him tell himself the same joke over and over. Because I think the camera is just on his expression. Mm-hmm. I don't think it moves from his expression. And I think the scenes might be a minute and a half or 2 minutes. It's a pretty lengthy scene to just be focused on one person. But you can see him kind of crumble within that scene because it starts off light, and then I could just Jude Law, like, it's not the typical Jude Law character. Like, he has different hair. He's doing an American accent, and he's a little bit full of himself. You think so at first, but in this scene, you can just see him slowly crumbling before the camera. And I think that's the beginning, not really the beginning of the end for his character, but that's when his character first opens his eyes and is like, wow, I really do have a problem here. And that's when he first, I think, realizes that. So What about yourself?
I like that one of those final scenes where where Tommy Corn is saving. Let me get her name. Uh, Dawn Campbell, saving her from the house. I just think it's a fun little scene. I think it really highlights the best of both characters, and it's just I don't know, it was just a fun, cute little scene. I think it was a nice little thing to add on to the end to I don't know, just to like round out the film, just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
finish out the film. So, um, what's your final thoughts on this film?
It needs to be trimmed.
Yeah.
It needs more focus. But I felt everyone brought their A game to this project. They wanted to work with David O. Russell. He was pretty much he had done a couple movies before this, and they had all done pretty well. So he attracted some great talent, and the characters were interesting, but I don't think the story was as good as it could have been. And there's a scene where one of the redheaded lady and Darlene and Jason Schwartzman's character, where they're it's like a love making scene, but they're out like putting each other's head in the mud.
Mm-hmm.
I think that scene could have been cut out. I didn't think it added anything, and it's about a minute and a half scene,
Mm-hmm.
and I think them putting their heads in the mud, they could have just left it at that. They didn't have to show some of the other aspects of the rest of the scene. I don't think it added, and that would have helped cut the movie as well. What about yourself?
I thought it was kind of like what you said. I think it was a very well acted film. It was very well done, very well acted. I thought the characters were really good. I really liked the characters a lot. Those are the things that I liked the most about it. I didn't like how long it was. I didn't like how many stories were thrown together in this film. I thought there was just too much going on. It was hard to stay focused on one thing because something else is coming in, and so I liked it. I don't know. I might watch it again.
Yeah.
But it's funny because like this film, I'm looking at some other David O. Russell, which we talked about, Flirting with Disaster.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that he did The Fighter and Silver Linings Playbook, which I had not seen Silver Linings Playbook, but I have seen The Fighter, and that movie is so good.
Yeah.
So good. But David O. Russell seems like a character director.
Yeah.
To me. Story's okay, but characters where he really thrives. He writes good characters and he tells good characters. And I think that to me, The Fighter's a good example of that too, of like a really good characters. Story's pretty good. I like the story, but I think the story plays second fiddle to.
He works with a lot of the same actors and actresses too.
Yeah, because he had Mark Wahlberg was in that film.
And he was also in Three Kings, which David O. Russell did.
I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, that's like a George Clooney, Mark Wahlberg, and I think Ice Cube.
All right.
Is I've only seen it once, but yeah, I think that's the three main leads.
Yeah. Okay. So. Oh, yep, that's it. I might have to check that out. All right, cool. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of Adam and Jake on the Movies. Next week, are we back? We're doing Steve Martin month, right?
Yeah.
What are we doing next week?
How about let's do you want to do a throwback to the 80s?
Sure.
So how about we do a double comedy duo? It'll be Steve Martin and John Candy. Or we could do Steve Martin and we could do the one that you suggested, the one Dirty Rotten Scoundrels.
Wait, what was the other one you were talking about?
Was it Planes, Trains, and Automobiles?
Yeah, let's do that one because I haven't seen it all the way through. Maybe we can do Dirty Rotten Scoundrels the next week.
I haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles all the way through either.
Yeah, I started watching it and I got stressed and I stopped watching it. So I really want to see it because I hear so many good things about it. So let's do that.
Okay.
We'll do Planes, Trains, and Automobiles next year with Steve Martin and the late, great John Candy.
Yeah.
Well, we'll be back next week. Make sure to check out that show and check out our other shows where.
We have a show tonight. Is this what you're talking about?
Yeah.
We have a King Network on Roku TV. It's going to be tonight at 7 p.m. every Wednesday, 7 p.m. We're going to have some kind of content streaming. They can also go to kingnetwork.com and click on demand, and our video should be up as well. So that's a cool thing. Very cool.
Yep. We're on all platforms. We're on Facebook. We're on YouTube. We're on King Network, powered by Roku, and we are on Instagram.
And soon we're going to be on Spotify as well.
And we're about to hit Spotify.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Yep.
All right. We will see you all next week. So for Adam and Jake on the movies, I'm Jake.
And I'm Adam.
And we will see you next week.
See you, everyone.
Later, guys.